Hello, loves. Hello, hello. Hills here from the Blue Flame. How are we doing as we come through the portal of the Virgo full moon and into the portal of the Saturn Sun Mercury conjunction in Pisces? Yes, we have barely moved through. The moon is just starting to shed its light, and we are already fully in another energy to navigate, a new way to integrate and to release and to come into greater connection with how we create in the world. This Saturn Sun Mercury conjunction is the reason that I have popped in today. It comes into its exactitude between the 27th and the 29th of February. It is active this entire week as we move from the month of February into the month of March, and as Venus and Mars come into their exact square with Jupiter. So what can we expect from this particular conjunction? The way that I am feeling it is that it is asking us to bring more consciousness, greater awareness. And when I use those words, consciousness and awareness, I mean heart and mind. I mean the unification of our emotional and mental bodies, our full awareness into connection with that which we create. So one way to really start to feel this is connecting into the truth that everything that you speak and everything that you think creates the world around you. And this is Mercury and Saturn working together, right? Mercury is our expression and our communication. It is also that energy template of an ability to move through all planes, through the interdimensional, through the omnidimensional, through the metaverses, through all of the universal planes, all of the heavens and all of the hells and all of the physical. That's Mercury energy, right? And Saturn is our foundations and our karma. It is all of those things that we've built, all of those things that we are building. It's also very physical. It's also very physical. It rules Capricorn. So it's earthy, physical. And in Pisces, it asks us to come into a remembering of flow, a remembering of flow through our foundations, through our karma, through time itself, through time itself. And the sun, of course, is our outward expression. So it's a reminder, all of this energy coming into a conjunction in Pisces is a remembering that we have the capacity to connect to all of the various planes of existence and to create from there, and that we are always doing that. We just forgot. And so we started to create from unconscious patterns and beliefs, from things that other people told us was true. And we didn't realize that every time we have a negative thought about someone, about ourselves in particular, we are actually walking that in the world. So if you walk out your door and you say, I'm going to have a shitty day, you're likely going to have a shitty day. But if you walk out your door and you say, I'm going to have a great day today, probably going to have a pretty damn good day. So one of the things that I love is when my higher self, my team and guides, point me in a direction that helps me to shine a light even brighter and especially when I get to draw some lines that I didn't know were there. So this morning I woke up. I'm going to let that siren go by a little bit. So this morning I woke up and heard this message. You need to go back to the video that you recorded at the end of May 2023 as we were emerging out of that eclipse wormhole and coming into the Aldebaran soul conjunction. Aldebaran is a fixed star, one of the royal fixed stars, and it's called the Silver Gateway. It's a place of emergence. One of the ways to connect into it is that place where after the life planning session, as a soul is coming into incarnation on the earth plane, this is one of the way stations on the way into the earth plane for souls. This particular transmission was about this rebirthing portal that we were in, but there was another aspect of it that I was asked to weave and to hold for us, and that is unity consciousness and timeline shifting, and how what we work with in the timelines is coming into a greater state of unification. I'm not going to go too deep into it right now because I actually have been called to edit that portion, the timeline shifting into unity consciousness portion, into an excerpt which will follow this speaking right here. One of the things that is absolutely beautiful about it, which I did not realize until I went back to this video, is that this Saturn, Sun, Mercury conjunction is actually exactly square to Aldebaran, which means that the energy that we were playing with when I first recorded that video when the Sun was conjunct Aldebaran is being activated. The Sun comes into conjunction with Aldebaran every year at the end of May. So this rebirthing portal that happens every year is being activated as we move through this conjunction. Isn't that amazing? I will have a link below for the full video if it calls to you. There is a really beautiful set of practices with regard to rebirthing, and also a lot more information in there about Aldebaran itself. So if that calls, you can check out the link below. For now, let's move on to the timeline shifting to unity consciousness excerpt. And I'll pop on at the end to say goodbye. I'm actually going to be talking about the way that, and there's been a little song, the way that it's been coming in for me. Timeline shifting to unity consciousness. Timeline shifting to unity consciousness. And I want to leave those words hanging there for a moment. Timeline shifting to unity consciousness. Let us feel that for a minute. What does that mean in your heart? What do you feel when you hear those words together? In the last update, as we were getting ready for the Taurus new moon that just happened, I shared that I felt a very, very massive timeline shift as we were emerging out of the Scorpio full moon eclipse. A lot of information has been coming in since then. A lot of information has been coming in since then. And more people that I'm talking to seem to have felt this also. They've felt that there was a massive shift, and part of what they're feeling as this new integrates, I'm going to leave it at that, is a unification is happening. A unification is happening. In the latest newsletter, I talked about a car accident that I was in when I was 18. This is how we're going to go into this energy. Now, I'm not going to retell the entire story. There will be a link below if you want to dive in more deeply to the energies astrologically and energetically of this current cycle until the new moon on the 3rd with the cosmic light drops. The car accident itself, it was pretty intense, and there are half a dozen very obvious ways in which I could have died. Very obvious. When we explore string theory or quantum theory in physics, every decision, every possible decision, every time you come to a crossroads, both of those split. And the path that you consciously take, you keep walking. And then there's a split, and the path that you didn't take creates a whole nother universe. Creates a whole nother universe. Feel into that. Like I mentioned in this car accident, there were 6 very obvious ways in which I could have died. And that's just the very obvious ones. And then there's all of the other possible things. And I'm giving us a really big example so that we can start to feel how sometimes it helps to have a big idea so that we can start to get it into the granular. One of the things that I have felt very often is an ability to touch in. Like since I was 18 and this car accident happened, I've had multiple opportunities to touch in and hear, oh, you did die. Like here's the timeline where it ends here. Here's the timeline where it ends here. And my conscious mind will go, no, I'm right here. I'm right here. Now let's take it down to a very, very small decision. If we can see that there are 6 obvious possible universes out there where that was where my timeline ended, then there's all of the other ones, including this one where I'm sitting here right now talking to you, where I didn't. And all of the forks that those made. So then today, I walked out of my house. I talked to my neighbor for a few minutes. And I told him, I'm going to go get a rose vanilla latte. And I walked and meandered, and I took this street or I took that street. I let my heart guide me as I made my way to this coffee shop that I like. And then as I was approaching the coffee shop, it was, am I staying or am I going? I brought my to-go cup, but am I actually going to get it for here and sit? It's a beautiful sunny day. We haven't had many of those in San Francisco recently. Even as I was sitting there talking to the person who was going to make my coffee, the barista, am I staying or am I going? And it was one of those decisions. It felt monumental, even though really it's the type of decision we make every moment, right? Am I going to turn here or am I going to turn there? Am I going out for a walk or am I going to stay home? Am I going to watch this TV program or that one? Like all of these little decisions. So there's a timeline where I sat there and I drank my coffee. There's probably a bazillion timelines where I didn't go anywhere, where I stayed home, where I recorded this an hour earlier, where I didn't even record this. So can we feel now how big it all is? How many possible timelines there are? Because this is just my decisions. These are just the ones that I've made. And then how I interact with the different people based on those. Each one of those people that I interact with, including all of you who are watching this video right now, have a million different ways in which your decisions create new timelines and new universes through that. That's quantum theory. Now, if we look at Schrodinger's cat is the hypothetical mathematical equation that puts a cat in a box and then tries to solve, is the cat alive or dead? Based on external factors that influence the cat in the box. And no matter what calculations they use, the cat is always both dead and alive at the same time. And this brings me back to that car accident, right? Every possible possibility exists. That's quantum theory. So feeling into this concept of every single possibility exists. We're going to go to samsara now. In Buddhist tradition, we reach nirvana or samsara when we have attained enlightenment. One of the ways in which the Buddha talked about it, or at least has been interpreted as having talked about it, is that from this place you can see all of the possible timelines. All of the possible timelines. And through that ability of seeing all of the possible timelines, you're able to heal them back down the line. Heal them back down the line. So what does that mean? Are you changing the past? Are you saying, I'm healing this ancestral line, and this ancestral line has massive abuses of power? I'm just going to go with that. Massive abuses of power. So as I move into my state of being able to heal that trauma down my ancestral line, are you then taking everything that anyone in your ancestral line ever did that was an abuse of power and erasing it from the story of humanity, of this earthly timeline? Not really. It's not like the history books are changing from your conscious knowing. This is where things are going to really start to get interesting. So one of the things that I have been experiencing personally over the last couple of weeks, really the last year, is this massive pain on my right side, my neck in particular. Now, when I got into that car accident when I was 18, not a short time ago, they kept telling me, oh no, don't move, don't move, don't move. Your neck might be broken. It was not. There wasn't really anything wrong with my neck at all. I actually hardly got hurt in this car accident, even though it was really intense and I skidded down a freeway as I was catapulted out of a VW bus. What has, and I didn't have neck problems for all of those years since that car accident. One of the things that's come in is that my physical body is actually readjusting, clearing through my physicality those other timelines. Okay, this is where it gets really hard to hold. So, what has been shown to me is some of us are timeline shifters. We have, as part of our light worker template, the work that we do, the service work that we do while in this earthly plane, is a sort of shamanic journeying, a dreamtime journeying, where mostly in the dreamtime, but some of us do it in conscious meditation states also, we're called into the network of timelines to repair breaches, to pull out old knots and rewire everything. I've talked about it before as the singular timeline being stretched out like a loom to repair the old damage. One of the pieces that has been really, really loud for me is part of this is actually, it's not just the single universe in which our soul currently inhabits that we're bringing into a state of unification. Part of what we're doing right now, part of this ascension journey, as we like to call it, this enlightenment journey, part of what all of this timeline shifting is for. Some of us are doing this on a collective level. That's a service contract. That's the big picture. All of us in our incarnation, as we start on this journey, this awakening path, is transmuting the shadows, the old debris of the no longer active timelines would be a way to feel into that. As you are transmuting past life, karmic, ancestral, current incarnation trauma, all of this shadow work that as we call it, as you are going in and alchemizing all of this through your system, releasing the old cords. You know, we do a lot of cord cutting meditation when we're on this path, and part of the reason for that is because we're plugged in to so many things that we don't need to be plugged into anymore. As we release those cords, we're also releasing all of the timelines that are no longer, the word valid is coming in, but I don't like it. No longer true. They're no longer true. The way that we have thought about unity consciousness, a lot of people anyways, and have been taught about unity consciousness. Sometimes it comes in, it's like, ooh, hive mind and scary. A lot of times the way that it comes through when I'm feeling into what unity consciousness means is the ability to be telepathically or to feel the interconnectedness of all of us in a tangible and embodied way. So whether that's telepathic communication or just that moment when you know that your mom is about to call you. Like, oh, I felt you. And then your phone rings, right? So the thing that I was shown yesterday that I've been processing through for the last couple of weeks and was finally given a clear enough picture that I'm able to come on here and share it with you all now, is all of this work, everything that we're doing, whether you're a timeline shifter for the collective and for yourself, whether it's something that you're doing as part of your service contract for your family line, it is your journey, however you're doing it, is we are clearing out and reconnecting all of these timelines, all of the splits that have occurred because we were not consciously making our decisions. All of the splits that occurred because we were not consciously making our decisions. I'm going to say that one more time. All of the splits that occurred because we were not consciously making our decisions. The reason I said that 3 times is because we have free will on this planet. We will always have free will on this planet. That is part of the miracle of this embodied existence that is the Earth Project. We will always have free will. However, as this timeline unification comes in, as we wake up more and more, and as the earth plane is vibrating through the 4th dimension into the 5th dimension, and we along with her are moving into that space beyond time, connecting to that space beyond time while we're in embodied form, holding that higher frequency would be another way to feel into this. It's not that free will goes away or that decisions don't have consequences, i.e., the choice that you make splits off. It's that for more and 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 more of us, more and 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 more of the time, the choice that we make in each moment is so perfectly aligned to our true soul path, to our true calling, that it does not cause a split. So, when we feel into unity consciousness and we feel into timeline shifting, can we allow ourselves to explore this idea, this thought experiment, this high esoteric knowing, this truth, perhaps, that what we are doing as we wake up to our truest soul calling is timeline shifting to unity consciousness. And as we make these transformations and these transitions, we are able to come into a state of beingness that does not fracture the timeline anymore. Hello, loves. Hello, hello. I hope that you enjoyed that journey through the timelines, through the high esoterica. And if it feels like it serves, I would love to hold space for your personal journey. If you feel called, there will be a link below in the description to request a consult for a soul path journey where we can come together and explore your unique birth story, explore your Akashic records, and dive deep into the types of light worker templates you hold in the soul group that you emerged from. And through this, help you to navigate all the ways you can make your decisions from a greater state of consciousness, from a greater state of truth. And through this, come into greater and greater states of unification within your being, which will ripple out universally through all of the dimensions and all of the planes, through all of the universes and all of the timelines. It has been such an honor and a privilege to share these weavings with you, and I so look forward to all of the ways that we will journey together in the future, whatever that may bring. If it calls, you can also check out the members portal, which is a container over at the Patreon where we journey together. We just had a really powerful Venus point calibration over this Virgo full moon and worked with the Hathars. It's really powerful. It was quite a journey, in fact. There's links below for all of the things, and so I will leave it with that and with these words. As always, in the always, so much and many loves to you from, through, and beyond the all dimensions.